For some reason, there was a lot of unneeded hate and death threats sent towards him, which is honestly insane, which obviously caused him a lot of grief at the time.
Content creator JoCat has taken an indefinite break from making videos.
If you took the time to read this, thank you. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. Thank you for watching my videos.
What is wrong with this video? People got mad about this video?
We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality, interactive appetites.
So over my many years of experience on the internet, I've learned something. That being on said internet, quite often or not, you're going to be exposed to things regularly without your consent that you don't necessarily like. No, I'm not talking about things like Omegle at its peak at 3 AM, seeing copious amounts of uncircumcised members, and I'm not talking about seeing the absolute darkness of the internet like the Pain Olympics. Just hearing about the rumours surrounding that was enough to produce a face of grimacing disgust. You also previously had LiveLeak, but in the modern day that's been replaced by Instagram Reels. I saw Subway Surfers gameplay over a violent car accident this morning, I just thought you should know. But no, I'm more talking about no matter where you look, a trend or meme is being forced down your throat and it just gets annoying due to the sheer amount of times you see it. In the past this looked more like the Rickroll, even though it was a good song. The same can be said for most of Fetty Wap's music, like a majority of his music. Or how Skibbity Toilet was solidified in everyone's feeds for at least 2 years, and it even got to the point where it actually influenced our language as a human race, and now I feel like I barely hear about it anymore. And more recently you have the Sora AI trend, where they generate prompts of your favourite streamer doing some heinous shit with a watermark and people will still ask if it's AI. My point is, seeing these types of things on the internet over and over, it gets repetitive, even some can say annoying. But who do I blame? Myself for having a reaction over something on the internet that literally does not affect me whatsoever and I can simply just walk away from my device? Or the person posting the meme who is just conforming to a trend and putting their unique spin on it if it isn't a repost? Or the person that made the meme and or popularized it? Well, currently on the internet I think the only option not being utilized is the first one, and around 2021 that could be seen. Because from one popularized video someone faced a witch hunt and harassment campaign, and due to said things said they might need to step away from content creation indefinitely, all because they wanted to express their love for women.
Not the only one I like, you know. I like big girls, pretty kitty girls.
So if you don't know who JoCat is, I wouldn't really blame you. YouTube is so big nowadays that you don't know everyone with like 1 million subscribers, or people that post outside of the genre of things you're interested in. Whereas in the early days, at least from my experience, you did. But you probably know him more for his work, which we are going to talk about later. I only personally know him because of his work, and because he's associated with people I grew up watching, like Shenpai, especially back in the Overwatch days. God, I miss them. She was also the first streamer I ever donated to, and as she was answering the question that I put in the donation, she got distracted by another donation, and for prepubescent me, that was like a turning point similar to Batman watching his parents die. And I've never donated to a streamer since. It was €1 and it instilled that much in me. This was like 8 years ago. Still watching her content to this day though. But anyway, rambling to the side, JoCat. Before his arguably most contested creation, he was already a well-known animator. He started uploading in 2018 and initially garnered popularity due to his early guides on things like Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter related content, where he eventually built himself up to the point where in 2021, he was on the verge of reaching 1 million subscribers, and was uploading things outside of the aforementioned niche, like just general animated videos which got millions of views, along with highlights from his streams and other topics he was interested in like D&D. I've tried playing Dungeons & Dragons multiple times, and the hardest part about it isn't the game or creating characters or setting everything up, it's getting people to stay consistent and actually show up to the sessions. Like most times I've played D&D, the campaign goes in the shit because some people stop turning up. But as I was saying before, JoCat already had a huge following around this time, even before the one video that would cause a huge storm for him. But prior to that, he wasn't really involved in any huge dramas or controversies. Not really anything that would warrant the huge backlash he got later on. He was mainly just a guy making videos about the things he was interested in, and mostly had a positive reputation in the majority of the communities he interacted with. But his channel and recognition was about to explode even further. Further than it already was, and it would also create a lot of problems for him. All of this due to one animation, one parody of an already somewhat popular song at the time, and you've probably seen it once or twice either browsing YouTube or any other platform, because it was adopted by many other communities. The animation was based on a song called Boys by Lizzo, and at the time there was already other animations that used this same song and had the same concept like the animation done by Hakim Animations, which was posted 2 years before JoCat's video and to this day sits at 14 million views. But JoCat transformed the song and made a parody with his own voice. Instead of being about the many physique types of boys, like in the original song, but JoCat took it in a different direction and did the same thing but about females, referencing mostly game characters and VTubers. Yes, JoCat was behind the meme and format that a few years ago went seemingly viral and was everywhere. And it went a bit like this.
I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls.
Obviously I can't show you the rest of it because copyright, but I found a clip where he does the thing live and I tried to remove the music.
Not the only one I like, I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like the leggy girls with the nice thighs. I like a good chest no matter what size. I like a freckled face. I like a wide back. I like the body shapes and the short stacks, from the mild girls to the wild girls. You got style girls, make them wild girls. Anyway, I just like girls.
Yeah, dude just really liked girls. I wonder if Lizzo's gonna claim this video just because he sang a song like hers. But it's important to note this wasn't the first time JoCat showed his musical prestige, and it was seen in a lot of his videos.
You got me bony feet and certified in song. Evocation elements to burn or shock or freeze your friends. Necromancy spares the dying, or you could just resurrect them.
Even the audio for the animation comes from a 2020 stream of Baldur's Gate, nearly a whole year before the animation was even published. And I think one of the reasons he shows his musical talent so much is down to him and a lot of his D&D campaigns being a bard. Not the best class in my opinion. What you're gonna do, bass boost and persuasion check your enemies to death? But then again, monks exist. But besides that, this video basically blew up on its release, with it almost having 1 million views in the first 2 days. And it only grew from there. Even I remember in early 2022, this video was pushed to my feed multiple times, even if I had already watched it, and that's including the re-uploads and people making their own versions of it. As said before, it was adopted by multiple communities that put their own spin on it, like the Genshin Impact community. Now, the initial reaction to this video was very positive. As said before, people liked JoCat and this video was somewhat on brand for him. A short, light-hearted animation that some viewed as cute, wholesome, and some even took it as a movement for body positivity. But I'm sorry to say this, no matter how much body positivity there is, none of you will ever achieve the peak that is the Terrari build. He literally ate anything. He was on an indefinite bulk and was a tank whilst unfortunately being French. French, for God's sake. But this short video about a guy liking all sorts of women, like the big girls, the small girls, the schizophrenic, racist, white monster drinking, post consuming, bed rotting girls. The short animation would circulate every now and again for the years to come across multiple platforms, but 1 year and one circulation that would stand out from the rest would be 2023, because despite it being a rather harmless video and most people liking it, there were a number of people that were the opposite, which, fair play, you can't like everything. I have to cope with the mentally deranged people out there that think Grabbed by the Ghoulies was one of Rare's worst games, despite it being their best, just like Viva Pinata. I'm not wearing rose-tinted glasses, go fuck yourself. However, the animation always did have at least a small amount of people that, as said, didn't really like it. A majority of these people were simply annoyed by it every time the video would circulate. But in 2023, some took it upon themselves to target JoCat specifically, simply because he was the one behind the creation of it, and they took it way too far.
What up, warriors of fartness? I bet you don't have the slightest clue how to play this eyeball-melting anime game.
Now, the main platforms this video was circulated on was YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. Can you guess which one was the one that most of the hate and harassment came from? If you answered anything but Twitter, you probably inhaled too much lead fuel as a kid. Twitter quite literally has a legacy of doing this at this point, taking the most tame topics and making it 10 times worse than it should be, and JoCat was not immune from that legacy. Some people were already talking about how they thought the animation was cringe years prior, and some interpreted it as him trying to hide he is gay, and some just labelled the whole thing as just straight up gay. So the hate was definitely there beforehand. But in December 2023, the clip circulated again with a post by a user called Zero Suit Camus, or Claire, who jokingly claimed the animation as their own and reposted it for the world to see again, hopefully unknowingly starting another wave of hate for JoCat. And for JoCat, it was potentially the final straw that broke the camel's back. And what made it worse was he was getting flack for a previous situation regarding Hogwarts Legacy, where some streamers were being harassed for just playing a game because Harry Potter's tied to J.K. Rowling or something, and he made a tweet about it, which some interpreted as him supporting the harassment or downplaying it, and he would later respond by claiming he was not trying to support the harassment. But regardless, in December of the same year, from the aforementioned post, there was a frenzy of hate for him, and it was completely different from previous hate waves. Some circulated unfounded claims against him, some say he was a predator to a woman abuser, and JoCat would quickly respond revealing even more things people had done, saying he's received harassment for years primarily due to that one video, and according to him there were attempts to dox him and even suspicious packages sent to his family home, along with things like just general harassment and death threats. And in said statement, he says with all of this happening, he maybe isn't made for content creation, and he would be indefinitely taking a break from content creation and would slowly wind down his projects, in his own words, primarily because of the multiple years of hate he got from making that video, and how said hate and harassment had leaked from Twitter to his actual life. And a lot of people were saddened to hear this news, because once again a lot of people knew him from his D&D tutorial videos and D&D content in general, so it would almost seem natural people would be upset to hear a creator is no longer making content down to harassment they were facing. And after this, JoCat did stay true to his word for a while. In a pinned comment, he said he would finish up his current series, then his YouTube channel at least would go inactive, and the only thing being uploaded around that time were those D&D sessions he streamed previously, a part of that series. Within that time, he did face another wave of hate when he replied to a tweet about girls' body types, saying he in fact likes them all, and posted a picture of him on dates with fictional women with all the body types present, and he actually anticipated this would get him hate, of which it did. The usual hostility was present, and the usual fabricated allegations against him were also brought up again, like how he is apparently weird towards women, and he actually responded by requesting any woman he had come in contact with to come out with their stories if he had ever done something negative to them, because he had nothing to hide. And even later on that he understands why some people would suggest these things about him, followed by a final tweet saying after all the harassment he's faced, he's found ways to deal with it. And in accordance with this tweet, and around 7 months into his indefinite hiatus, in August of 2024 he would return to content creation with a new VTuber model, because apparently he was a VTuber. I didn't even know that to be honest. So his indefinite hiatus was more of a temporary one, and he eventually fully came back to content creation. He still streams occasionally, he's gone back to uploading, and he still gets hate for the animation he made in 2021 to this day. I think the latest I saw was people saying he was like Pedro Pascal, with the whole supposed Pedro Pascal fatigue thing, and some are questioning why Will Smith didn't get the same amount of hate JoCat saw when he released an original song with almost the same premise as JoCat's.
This is clear that this is a joke, that it's like, obviously the solution isn't that simple.
In conclusion, JoCat over the years has received a lot of attention and hate, primarily due to making an animation that went viral and, in his own words, reached outside its target audience, and he ended up receiving harassment for multiple years because of this, to the point where he would briefly make the decision to leave certain platforms, of which he would later return from as he basically stopped caring about what Twitter was saying. And that's basically it. Moral of the story, if you're passionate about something that generally isn't hurting anyone, don't care about what Twitter says. And yeah, that's it. Joji released a new song after a few years, if you didn't know. But yeah, that's just a small topic I wanted to talk about today, and really all I had to say, and bye-bye.